Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the Vollis Galaxy. I am your host, Captain Stark, and you are now live at the Stark Broadcasting Center. Welcome, and I am here reminding you all that keep in mind that the freedom of information is just as important as the information of freedom. I am your host, and I'm going to start off here with an exciting new development here, which is some new information that I have gathered through the help of some medical experts across the Vollis Galaxy. And I'm hoping that this can come in handy with a lot of organisms out there of all alike and kind and all walks of life and all runs of life and jogs and all of that. And I think this could be found very useful for Earth dwellers as well, not just us in the Vollis Galaxy. Okay, so, and here's the best part. Folks out there, you know how much I deeply hate commercials. I hate commercials. I hate advertisements. They really get my blood boiling and curdling. I don't like them. But for once, and possibly the only time ever in history, I can't believe I'm telling you this, I actually have an advertisement that actually coincides with a study that I want to talk about on the show. So, without further ado, let's please get to this commercial, get it out of the way, and then I'll talk about the study. So, cut to commercial break. A word from our sponsors. Stick back, folks. Come back with us when we are finished here. Okay, see you in a moment. Do you have problems sleeping at night? Is time often ticking? Do you have so much time in the day, but you don't find yourself able to get the adequate sleep to live a healthy lifestyle? Is trouble getting to sleep a problem that is frequently bothering you or one of your friends? Is this a problem that affects you at work, that affects your social skills? Is this a problem that has gone for years and years and there has been no way to find treatment for? Well, this is your lucky day. Come on down to one of the morbidly awake syndrome sleeping clinics, and we can do a study to further analyze the problems that could fix everything going wrong with your life as far as sleep. Please understand that if you have problem falling asleep, we can solve the problem. We will take the time and care for you, and we accept a lot of methods of payment, almost any. We will do what we can to make sure that any formidable access can be granted to you or the parties of your person that you represent, or organism that you represent as well, to make sure that you get the help getting the sleep you need. This does not count for those organisms that rely on hibernation. Come on down to one of our clinics, seen at the third moon of Leviticus, and if you can make it out there, then I promise you, we will do everything we can in our power to help you learn how to fight morbidly awake syndrome, kick your awakeness addiction, and you can get yourself the proper sleep that you so much desire in your life. Come on down to our sleeping clinics, 'cause time's a ticking. Tick, 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 tick. Don't wait any more minutes. Morbidly awake syndrome is a condition that cannot be treated by any natural methods outside of one of our offices. If you make an appointment to stay longer than 30 minutes without any medications, you will be able to guarantee another customer compliance text number 1789465478431. Okay, and welcome back. And yes, the advertisement there was very helpful for once and possibly the only time. And yes, I don't know if you caught everything that was said at the very end there, the disclaimer. Why don't I just go over it a little bit with my notes here? Okay, so the disclaimer at the end says, morbidly awake syndrome is an issue that cannot be treated by any natural methods outside one of our offices. If you make an appointment and stay awake longer than 30 minutes without any medications, you will get your money back guaranteed under the Customer Compliance Act number 177-896-54778. So, the basis of the research done here, my fellow friends and family and acquaintances from the Vollis Galaxy and, of course, the Milky Way Galaxy, Earth, is understand this. You think you have problems sleeping at night, and maybe that's what you truly believe. You strive to get the sleep you desire. You do everything you can, but do you get it? Do you get it? And I'm not asking do you understand, I'm asking do you get it? It as in sleep. It is the subject at hand being sleep. So substitute that for sleep. Do you get the sleep that you desire. Is that what you get? Do you get it? Do you try and get it and fail? Well, I got to tell you something here. An amazing discovery done by doctors, scientists of the like, and I'm here to bring you that information because Captain Stark here gets the exclusives because he cares about the organisms out there of all the kinds. And I'll tell you, the problem is not that you don't get an adequate amount of sleep. That is not the problem here. It's not that you have trouble sleeping at night. You can't sleep at night. That's not the problem. You have an awakeness addiction. That's correct, folks. You are addicted to being awake. It's not that you have trouble falling asleep, because you clearly want to, but you are too addicted to being awake, and you never had a clue. You didn't think of that. You wouldn't have known. It's a recent study. It's a recent opportunity that has been presented to me to be able to release this information, because I don't know how much longer they're going to wait to release it all. So I'm going to do it first. It is not that you have trouble sleeping. Absolutely not. That is incorrect. That is folly to believe so. It is quite different. It differs from that. You have an awakeness addiction. Morbidly awake syndrome is a serious problem that affects a lot of organisms, reminding you, just like the advertisement has claimed, okay, if you are an organism that uses hibernation as one of your methods, this does not apply to you. Just please understand that, okay? I don't want you to get confused. And you will not have the ability for access to the treatment. So, anyways, back to the point here. Morbidly awake syndrome. That is the problem. You are addicted to being awake. You need to kick it, okay? You need to kick that addiction. There's a lot of bad addictions in the universe, and this is one of them that is relatively unknown to most people and organisms of the like. I think people mostly, but I would say on Earth, most people that have trouble sleeping at night are very incognizant of this information. They would have trouble sleeping at night. I'm sure you have that problem. I know I certainly did. And it is not at all that you have trouble sleeping at night. That's just what you believe, because it's, what else would you think? It seems like it's common knowledge, common sense. But of course, that is not the point here. The real issue is you are addicted to being awake. So how do you stop a problem such as that? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do that right now. You come on down to one of the clinics, and they will take care of this problem. And again, they're going to give you brochures, heavy sedations, and all this type of things. And I'm not saying I know the formulas or anything. I don't work for them. I'm just giving you the information. And if you don't fall asleep within 30 minutes, then you get all your money back guaranteed. Of course, they take different payment methods, and on Earth, I don't think you could exactly make it out here in the Vollis Galaxy, but somehow, if you can, then you could, of course, learn the information and pass it on to people on Earth. I think that'd be wonderful. That would be great. And if you do, and you do bring that knowledge around there, then I would love to have you on the show, and you can talk about your success. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. You got to kick this addiction to being awake. Kick it. You got to stop it. Stop being addicted to being awake. And I think, now here's what I can do to help that problem, okay? What I can do to help this problem is simply reminding my listeners of all the things that have been great accomplishments that have came from sleeping, okay? That is what I'm going to do here, because I figure, hey, you're so addicted to being awake, why don't I tell you great things that happen from sleeping? Since you continue to have problems sleeping and you're awake more than you're asleep. Well, I mean, okay, don't get me wrong, you're supposed to be awake more than you're asleep, technically, but besides that, I'm saying you're clearly not getting enough sleep. So I'm here to give you some historical examples of when sleeping has given great opportunities and have given great strides and progress throughout history of the Vollis Galaxy. So, all right, I got my notes here. I did a lot of research, and okay, I'll give you one of these. So, no particular order of greatness or significance, but certainly great examples of why sleeping can help and is helpful, and you shouldn't fight it. You should stop your awakeness addiction and just sleep. Stop being morbidly awake with your morbidly awake syndrome. Okay, I'll continue. So, the first example I want to bring up was, of course, this was before my time, okay? And this was, of course, reminding all the folks out there, my listeners, that this was in the Vollis Galaxy. So way back, there was a deadly war going on. This is before my time, okay? The Battle of Titslimus was won by Merrick Cooler, okay? And this was very interesting. So Merrick fell asleep in his spaceship, okay? He was up fighting all night, all day, and all night and all day. So he had a long battle in him. He was going hard, okay? Now, Merrick didn't get his adequate amount of sleep. So when Merrick actually fell asleep while piloting a spaceship, okay, the enemy forces zoomed in on his window with their scopes, and guess what they saw? They saw someone sleeping. So they assumed that Merrick was actually dead. Therefore, they didn't shoot him. They let it fly by because they figured he was sleeping. Or, figured he was dead, but he was actually sleeping. So then what happened with Merrick was, because of the piloting area that he was going in the direction, he happened to crash straight into the opposing forces' general's explosives cache, exploding, causing a massive explosion, blowing up all sorts of enemy forces and himself, unfortunately, and it actually won the war. That's my point. It won the war. Okay, an entire war was won in one battle because one man, Merrick, happened to be falling asleep instead of being awake piloting. Okay, so understand that. That's one historical example of something great that has occurred from sleeping. So once again, if you fight the urges to sleep because you're addicted to being awake, you might miss out on something significant such as that. Okay, or something equal to or less than or so. So just keep this in mind. Now, the next historical example I want to bring up, this one was very peculiar. I'll never forget this one. I can still remember the documentaries when I was a young man. Scientist Dippo Fishwasp, he was working endlessly, countless years, trying to make a renewable fuel source, and he never quit. I'm telling you, this was his life's work to come up with a renewable fuel source. Everything, you tried every method you could possibly think of, emptied his, we don't have bank accounts in the Vollis Galaxy, keep in mind, but emptied all of his savings of all of his Zulk and Doft and everything, all of his currencies, just to try and find a solution to this reaction, doing all sorts of very expensive experiments with equipment and test subjects, voluntarily, everything, could not come up with that. And then one night or day, actually, I don't know the proper time of it, but we'll just say one date in time, he fell asleep. When he woke up, a lot of his different chemicals were spilt all around the floor, and some of it landed in one beaker that did not break. And guess what was in that beaker? It wasn't a renewable fuel source, unfortunately, but it was, in fact, Kool-Aid. That's right, it was the drink Kool-Aid. Very, very, very popular in the Vollis Galaxy. So that happened, again, by sleeping. Being able to sleep, because he worked so hard he didn't get his proper sleep. He was probably a morbidly awake syndrome victim. And he, by accident, because he fell asleep, sleeping made that happen, made that accident concoction in that beaker, which made Kool-Aid a very popular drink in the Vollis Galaxy. There's another significance of things that will happen when you get your sleep. Okay, scrolling through my notes here. Another one, of course, the most famous painting ever in the Vollis Galaxy by far. You can ask anybody. You can go to any museum on any of our planets in the Vollis Galaxy. Was made by Charlotte Scullyfink. Okay, she was selling art for a living. She did very successful. Okay, a little bit before my time, of course. Now, she was working on all sorts of sculptures and everything, and she did fairly well. I mean, her art is seen everywhere, and, she got people's attention, and she was big in our media and stuff. Great woman, did very great artwork. And she actually fell asleep one night, working too hard once again, like I say, because she was probably addicted to being awake. She didn't try and get her sleep. It's no one's fault but hers. And when she fell asleep, she spilled all sorts of acrylic paint and metallic paint and everything. And it, of course, made the most famous painting ever in the Vollis Galaxy. It's a very beautiful painting. It's beautiful. It looks fantastic. You can't miss it. You just can't. You cannot miss it. And it's a very beautiful work of art, the most beautiful work of art in our history. Once again, from sleeping. Sleeping did that. Keep that in mind, please, my listeners. And stop it. Stop fighting your sleep. Okay, kick your morbidly awake syndrome. You are addicted to being awake. You could have made the most famous painting like she did. Okay, now back to more significance. So, the last example I'm going to state on here is, I remember this one too. This was all over the place. This was a very deadly battle going on. There was a negotiations going on between two crime lords because there was so much violence going on this particular side of the second moon. And what happened here was they were working on negotiations, but it didn't seem like it was going to end. So, of course, people thought, oh, okay, well, these crime lords and their minions are going to go fighting again. That's just great. Yeah, that's just great. Let's have more violence and deaths and bloodbaths, okay? Nobody likes those. Nobody. Why would you want any of that, okay? And it didn't seem like it was going to end. They're two very stubborn crime lords. I mean, that's the thing. But what happened was, okay, so crime lord Sir Spotty Loiters fell asleep, okay? Spotty Loiters actually was working on his negotiations. They were trying so hard to negotiate peace between the two gangs. And what happened was, during the negotiations, he fell asleep. So what happened? The other crime lord officially signed his part of the peace treaty and then screwed over Sir Spotty Loiters out of his what he would have wanted, of course, so that, stinks for him and stuff. But technically speaking, it did bring peace, and it caused the end of the war for them, their gang war. So that was very, very nice. I mean, and how'd that happen, folks? By sleeping. So once again, get your sleep, stop fighting sleep, okay? And by that, I mean kick your awakeness addiction. Those are very famous examples. And of course, other uses for sleep are, renewing energy, burning calories, getting yourself prepared for the next day, and repairing all of your, muscles, and, restoring memories in your memory bank, and, retaining information of all sorts of, obvious things that go on naturally. Dealing with humans, I have not a clue what happens with sleep in the other species, of course, but, I'll leave those common information up for them. So, now the second thing I'm going to get to on this program, again, I'm bringing you another exclusive. And I tell you again and again, I don't play the game. When this is politics, this is the Vollis Galaxy. I bring the truth. I give you exclusives. I fight for your rights of all organisms on the Vollis Galaxy, and of course Earth as well. And I'm here to expose you. Last broadcast, I told Powen Yootipopper, I said, yeah, I like you. You seem like you're a good leader, but I'm watching you. Just because I respect you for now doesn't mean I won't expose you if you do something bad, okay? And you did something bad, okay? And that's why I'm here. I'm here to expose you. I'm bringing you the exclusive. So, let's do a little memory jog here, okay? Put your headbands on and let's do a memory jog. So, on the last broadcast, I taught you about MoyerLink. MoyerLink, in my opinion, in my professional opinion, of course, is probably the most employed company in the Vollis Galaxy. If it's not, it's way up there. Okay, talking way up there, like pretty high up there, pretty far up there, depths in the like the third or fourth atmosphere of what Earth would have. That one, whatever that one is on Earth, it would be that one. That's how high up. Okay, very, 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 very big company. Lots of employees work there. Like I said, I have 8 jobs. That is one of my jobs. Now, MoyerLink is when you borrow their radiographic scaffers, okay, which are very expensive. They're very expensive. Nobody I know personally owns one. That's how expensive they are. And what you do, if you're employed for them, is you get to use their radiographic scaffer, and you dig for Zulk. And all the Zulk you find, because you're working for them and you're borrowing their radiographic scaffer, you get to keep a portion of the Zulk that you find and you dig up. And I'm telling you, like I said last broadcast, it's a great deal. So, just a quick reminder, folks, that is MoyerLink. So, what does Powen Yootipopper do? Powen Yootipopper comes onto MoyerLink, and you know what he tells you, folks? This is the kind of nonsense that he's spewing to you. So Powen Yootipopper comes out of the blue. or really out of the gray, and he says, you know what? I think we could increase our proficiency by cutting the employment by half. That's right, by half. Half. That's 4 letters. And it's 50%, and it's 1/2, okay? And all sorts of other things. And would you believe that is idea? And now you're thinking, okay, well, he must have a good point. I mean, after all, he is a leader. Well, that's just it. Nobody is able to expose him except me. That's why I'm here. I'm exposing the fraudulence in this bum, okay? After you hear what I'm about to tell you, yeah, you're not going to think the same of him, and I'm going to get your jobs back, okay? A lot of us got fired because he's cutting employment by half because he joined the MoyerLink squad. Now, I'll tell you what, after you listen to me, you're going to think of a couple other words to call him other than a leader. You'll think, oh, I don't know, a terrorist, a bum, a bad leader, I don't know, a lobotomized tadpole, okay? So this is what he's trying to tell you, folks. So here's what Powen Yootipopper says. I'm going to cut the employment in half and have the same amount of Zulk intake, the same proficiency. And you're thinking, gee, goodness gracious me, that must work then. I mean, he says so, he's a leader, right? So there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. He must be right. And people, half the staff has to lose their jobs. Oh, well, I mean, he's right about everything, isn't he? So, okay, same proficiency, just people won't have jobs. Okay, here's where I stop that nonsense right now. Okay, this is what he is trying to spew to you. I got my notes right here as I made sure I get my information accurate. So he's claiming that MoyerLink can dig up 40,000 Zulk by 10 workers getting 4,000 Zulk each. Okay, that is what Powen Yootipopper is saying that MoyerLink can achieve. And then once again, you're going, oh, that's fantastic. Oh my goodness gracious, that's wonderful. Oh, he's so great. He's such a great leader. Well, guess what? I looked up the schematics myself. I made sure that this wasn't true because I care about our job, not just because it's my job, but for the other 49% of people's jobs, or whatever percent it would be with me in that percentage amount, so 49.987 something. I'm assuming it's around that approximate number, percentile of workers that are losing their jobs. So I looked up the schematics myself. Okay, according to the real schematics, not Powen Yootipopper's imaginary schematics that pop out of midair like a, magic mushroom cloud, but what the real schematics are for a radiographic scaffer is 40,000 Zulk. How can it be achieved? Well, but if 20 workers were to use radiographic scaffers, they can achieve 40,000 Zulk. And you're like, well, wait a minute, Captain Stark, but Powen says 10 can do it. 10 can get 40,000. But guess what? Each radiographic scaffer has a capacity of 2,000 Zulk. So let's do simple math here. 2,000 Zulk times 20 workers equals 40,000. So therefore, his science and math is off. It is fraudulent. It's fake. It cannot be achieved. He is lying to you folks, and he is exposed. I just exposed him. Yet, he's going to fire half of the staff. Not under my watch. If I had a watch with me, that watch would be under his ugly face, okay? Not happening. I am not allowing this to happen because I have exposed you, Powen Yootipopper. I told you, don't mess with me. I give you exclusives on this show, and I bring the news to the organisms of the Vollis Galaxy and Earth alike. I understand no one at Earth works at MoyerLink, but I'm just giving you understanding, people on Earth that watch my show, that, yeah, things go on in the Vollis Galaxy, and I'm here to expose all corruption, any and all of it. So, there you go. His math doesn't add up, but yet he's trying to convince you that that's what's going on here. So he's going to fire half of the staff. Okay, half of us are losing our jobs, and that's what he's going running with. So I've exposed you. I'm getting your jobs back, folks. Don't worry, I got your backs. Okay, I got your backs. I got them. Don't worry, getting your jobs back. Okay, and the very last thing is to expose here is Powen Yootipopper. I got one last thing for you, one little chunk of information. Okay, and it's a ugly chunk. Okay, it's not the kind of chunk you want to look at. It's an ugly chunk that you want to say is chunky, and it's not worth looking at it one more time, not even glancing. And it's, you have a specific religion, Powen Yootipopper, and that's cool. But you don't abide by that religion. Your religion tells you you cannot marry another species, and you are married to a human wife. That's correct. That's correct. You had an astronaut wedding. You married a human wife. That is out of your religion. And okay, I get it. That's such a big deal, Captain Stark. But if you read into their religion, the reason I'm telling you this information isn't just to say it, to say, hey, I know that stuff. Hey, what's up? But I'm telling you that because, Powen Yootipopper, your religion says if you marry another species, not only is it illegal to marry another species, but you are not allowed to be a universe leader. You're not allowed to be a world leader even. You're not allowed to be a leader of any sort, of any masses. So, exposed. That's it. You're done. It's over with. I've exposed you. Okay? I'm getting your jobs back, folks. Kick your morbidly awake syndrome. Kick your awakeness addiction. Get your sleep. And let's get our jobs back at MoyerLink, okay? I fight for you guys. This is Captain Stark here, and I'm going to leave you with one quote before I end this broadcast. I exposed you for taking jobs and illegally marrying your human wife. Be thankful Adam caught this guy. I ruined your life. Kiss your astronaut goodbye. Have a good one, folks. Everybody have a great rest of your whatever date it is.